Hello, and welcome to episode 56 of Let's Talk Immigration. This is Curtis Morrison. That is my name. Um, a partner with Morrison Urena. And today, I'm eager to get lots of good questions from the audience. If you have a good question, or a bad question, I don't care. Go ask it on YouTube or Facebook, and it'll show up on my screen automatically. That'll be fabulous. If you ask it on Telegram, my team will try to get it here, and I hope that it'll show up. So, real quick, I want to say mandamus lawsuits for unreasonable delays, especially if the delay is like more than 6 months. It's a very good time to be filing those, okay? In the last couple months, we've had 6 judges deny the government's motions to dismiss. So what that means, I say we, I mean immigration attorneys in the U.S. One of those cases was mine. But so basically, in the minority of cases where the government files a motion to dismiss and the judges issue an order, because most of the cases are resolved before then, what we have now is we have judges that are actually denying those motions. And so that's great news, because that is showing the government that this litigation strategy they have of like filing a motion to dismiss is not getting them out of hot water, right? So anyway, if you are interested in a mandamus lawsuit for an unreasonable delay, whether it's against USCIS or it's against State Department, let me know. Also, we are continually getting myself and our attorneys admitted to new district courts so that we could file these lawsuits in other places. I was just recently admitted to Colorado, which is exciting because I haven't been there in a few years. So maybe I'll have a hearing up there and I get to go visit Colorado. That'd be fabulous. See if there's anything I want to talk about. Yes, DV 2020. If there's a DV 2020 selectee who was issued a visa in 2020 and entered the U.S. either on New Year's Eve or the beginning of 2021 after Judge Mehta's special order, I just wanted to nudge you and remind you that you are going to be eligible for naturalization 5 years after you enter. Right. Okay. So it's not yet. It's coming up a couple years, but just something to be thinking about. Okay. If you enter the U.S. on married to a U.S. citizen in 2020, you're eligible to naturalize now because it's quicker for that process, 3 years instead of 5. What else is I thinking about? I don't know. Let's just jump into questions, and maybe some more good questions will come up, and we'll see. Okay. Ilya, it's early with this question. DV 2021 plaintiff, which I don't know which lawsuit. It could be Good Luck Go, Jacob. Okay. If a child is born while waiting for the outcome of the appeal, what does it take for him to get a green card? Good question. Really good question. So we have asked the government attorneys, I've asked the government attorneys multiple times whether or not how that situation will work out, and they have not given us guidance. There's two different interpretations that you can take away from Judge Mehta's orders, because some places he uses the word selectees instead of applications. So there is one interpretation of his order that says that perhaps the derivatives will be able to get visas. But there's a more literal interpretation. I don't know if it's literal or not. There's another interpretation that says, no, they're not plaintiffs. And so since Judge Mehta's relief in the Good Luck case, for example, is for plaintiffs only, non-plaintiffs are not eligible. Now, there's exceptions to that where things get weird. The Ray lawsuit wasn't just relief for plaintiffs. It was relief for DV 2021 selectees waiting for interviews at certain embassies. So really, to answer your question, I need to know what embassy you were waiting on DV 2021, and which lawsuit you were a plaintiff in. Okay, but to give you the best answer, but here's the situation: if you're not able to get your newborn child a visa, at a DV visa, then your family is going to have to make this difficult decision whether or not you want to do this, where one of the parents comes to the U.S. and lives in the U.S. and files the petition for the child left behind. And the other parent stays back with the child, I guess, or can enter and then go back and forth. But if you do that, realize that it's F2A category. Spouse or child of a green card holder, F2A. Priority dates are not current in the visa bulletin, so it's going to be a 2.5 to 5 year process, which is very frustrating and sad because it means if the child's born today, they're almost going to be school age before they're able to enter the U.S. But that is one possibility of how it could play out. We won't know until we beat the appeal, and good luck, we win summary judgment. So your next question was, how soon after the result of the appeal will it be possible to pass the interview? Well, again, you're not saying which lawsuit you're plaintiff in, so the answer is different. Good luck. Thank you, whoever did that. Okay, so good luck. You're not going to be able to just because we beat the appeal. And good luck, we also have to win summary judgment. I'm confident we would win summary judgment, but when that happens, when Judge Mehta gets time to, it's going to take probably several hours for him to write this order. We don't know when that's going to be. So it could be a few weeks, it could be a couple months or more. So the answer to your question is, it's not after the appeal, it's after we win summary judgment, which is later. And then how much time the State Department has to implement the order is kind of up to the judge, right? So we're going to say right now, issue those visas right now. And the State Department's going to say, no, we need a year or something crazy. And the judge will come in and say what he thinks or she thinks in the case of the right order. So, okay, great question. Okay, Faisal asks, the court didn't issue any order since a while. Is there any holiday break mainly in the U.S.? Okay, Faisal. I have seen so many court orders in the last couple of weeks, I don't know what you're talking about. I think maybe you're a plaintiff in a specific lawsuit, or maybe that's what you're talking about. If you're a plaintiff in a group lawsuit, you need to say what the group lawsuit is. If you're talking about Good Luck and Ray and Gomez and the appeals, it's not accurate to say the court isn't issuing orders. That court is working, but that doesn't mean that our order is a priority over the orders that they get to decide which orders are more important. Okay. Hanny says, imagine yourself in 2028. Give me a minute to do that. Okay. You will be answering questions like, what's new in the Good Luck appeal to the Supreme Court? When will we have a decision? Oh my gosh, Annie. What's interesting about that, and most people that ask that question don't realize it, is we don't know who would be appealing the order when it comes out of the appeals court. Let me tell you what I mean by that. First of all, when the appeal comes back, it's not just going to be like you win, you lose. There's like 4 or 6 different issues, and judges could say you win this issue, but you lose that issue. And so it's possible that several different outcomes from that appeal, especially since there's different lawsuits involved in the appeal with different issues, different statement of issues. So there's a possibility that the government may lose on one issue and decide to appeal over that one issue. there's a possibility that we lose on one issue and we decide to appeal on that one issue. Okay. So just something to be thinking about. DV 2021. Hatim, hello, DV 2021. It's not a question, but thank you for being here. Comments ideal are for questions. Aracel, I'm sorry, I didn't say that correctly. Hello, do you think Embassy Manila will still use final action date to compute the CISPA age, while the USCIS uses filing date to compute the CISPA age? Thank you. Great question. When USCIS made that announcement earlier this year that they would use Chart B instead of Chart A to calculate CISPA, I initially thought that we would file a lawsuit on behalf of people waiting for green card visas for green cards at embassies who do not get that advantage because they're outside the United States. As I looked closer at the law around CISPA and how it interacts with visa issuances, I realized that it's a very complex legal issue, and I am not in the best position to file that lawsuit. Okay. So, and State Department has not expressed any interest in changing the way they're doing it. So I think that even though USCIS is being more accommodating to the derivatives that are aging out in the US, I do not think that that's going to be extended to US embassies by the State Department. It's not specific to Manila. In fact, it impacts other embassies a lot more, especially India. So, sorry, I don't have good news there, but I'm not optimistic. If there's any other immigration path that you can line up as a plan B, I recommend that you try that if you're the derivative in that at risk of aging out situation. Okay, DV 2021, glad you're here. Okay, I'm asking because some documents must be uploaded, like certificate of non-criminal record vaccinations. It takes time. Not exactly. You're scrolling back to your question here. You're a good luck plaintiff, DV 2021. There's been some developments since then. KCC no longer accepts documents. They don't do that anymore. Now that process in the DV process is done at the embassy. Okay, so I don't think KCC at all will be involved at all in the processing and adjudication of reserved visas from the DV litigation. But your sub question is not as important as the main question is. We don't even know if they'll allow. I need you to understand that. We don't know if they'll allow you to have a child derivative to get one of the good luck visas, because the way that order is worded, you can look back at the words in that order. And in some places it's talking about visa applicants, in some places it's talking about selectees. Let's talk about selectees. Yeah, derivatives can be included. It's all about how the State Department wants to interpret that order and how the judge wants to let them get away with interpreting that order. Okay, DV 2020. Yay, Gomez class, go. Okay. Joseph says, lawsuit may apply and the judge makes direct order, but why would it still take more time? What's new? And do I still have to go to the embassy before the closing days, or I still have to wait for? Joseph, you need to give me more information for context. I don't know if you're a DV 2020 selectee, a DV 2021 selectee, if you haven't even won the lottery and you're another kind of visa category, you're just coming out of this with a big question that I don't have context for. So down there, right? Are you a plaintiff in a lawsuit? What DV year? Answer me that. I'll come back to you. Okay, he said, you said several different appeals. We may win some, we may lose some. It may take a few years more right now to take almost 2 years. It took me down. Okay. There are several different appeals of different orders. There's an appeal of the Good Luck Order. There's an appeal of the Gomez Order, which includes Muhammad, Fong, John Kennedy, and Acre. There's an appeal of the Ray Order. There's an appeal of that's most of the DV orders. There's a couple more cases that I think Nicolette Glaser has. Oh, I left out Charles Cook's order. So there's an appeal of each of those lawsuits. And then each of those lawsuits, there's statement of issues that are appealed in those. I think they all have about 3 or 4 issues in common, but then each of them have special issues. Hatim says, please, do you know or tell me about our situation for the DV 2021 lottery winners? The majority of DV 2021 lottery winners, their visa journeys ended on October 1st, 2021. To know whether or not your journey continues past then, I would need to know if you are a Good Luck or Go plaintiff and what U.S. embassy you were waiting on at the time the DV ended, because that would determine whether you were eligible for the Ray Order. So if you can't answer those 2 questions, I would say your DV journey's over. Either are you a plaintiff in a lawsuit, or were you waiting for a DV interview on September 30th, 2021 at one of the embassies that benefit from the Ray Order? Hatim, I just answered that. You asked it twice. Okay, Joseph comes back and says, DV Lottery 22. If you are DV Lottery 2022, meaning your case number starts with 2022, and you were not issued a visa, your DV journey is over, and you need to continue to enter the lottery. The registration just closed for the next year, but next October, you can enter the DV lottery again. Our team says thank you. I'm going to say you're welcome. Okay, while we'll give a second for more questions to come back in. I love questions, even when I'm mean when I answer them. I still love questions. Quick reminder, when you're issued a U.S. visa, an immigrant visa or even a non-immigrant visa to come to the United States, go to the airport and get on a plane and come to the United States. Yesterday, I learned about a case where someone decided to go to a third country, and in the process of doing that, the embassy revoked their visa to the U.S., and that immigration journey is over. Okay. I've seen this happen a lot. They've got a stamp right there in their photos that the consular officers have that say revoked, that they could stamp a U.S. passport with. One of the reasons it happens is because after visa issuance, if consular officers become aware of information that you shouldn't have been issued the visa because you're ineligible for a certain reason, and it's information that they only became aware of after you were issued the visa, they can call you back and say, hey, can you come back? We got one more thing. And then they look at your passport and then they stamp it revoked. What are you going to do? It's unfortunate. I think it happens. Some embassies actually have hotlines for fraud. And I think what happens is when people are immigrating to the U.S., some of their neighbors, enemies, people that are bitter about it, exes, will decide they have envy and they want to get you back, and they will actually sabotage your journey. And they can do that with an email or a phone call. Okay. So when you're issued the visa, go to not to Starbucks. Okay. Not to go visit family, not to go on vacation, come to the United States on a plane or at port of entry. Just enter the United States. I call that the Curtis rule. Okay. Vinko asked, 2021, 1,500 under 15 and. Okay, I think I need more information for that question. I need more information. If you were a diversity visa selectee, were you a plaintiff in a lawsuit, or which embassy you were coming from? DV 2020, these are not very good questions, okay? No, I'm happy that you're here, DV 2020 class member. I do not have any information about the outcome of the appeal. Okay, so we'll wrap up early today. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on Telegram, WhatsApp, or give me a call or send me an email. Okay, take care and have a good week.